Hello everyone, welcome back, or if you're new here, my name is Greta and I am documenting the entire process of writing my second novel. Right now I'm documenting the process of participating in Camp NaNo July, and if you watched my last video, then you'll know I was in the 202s. I was really hoping I would leave the 202s, come back to Tahiti, and dive into this really strict writing routine, but that is not how it went. I came back, immediately got sick, and it has just been chaotic. As you can see from the empty bookshelves behind me, I'm in the process of moving. I really underestimated how long it takes to move and get settled in a new place. So I'm trying to do that whilst trying to get into this really strict writing routine, and it just is not going that smoothly. So what I'm doing right now is documenting each of my weeks whilst participating in Camp NaNo. So this week has been hectic, work has been crazy, moving has been chaotic. And to be honest, I haven't been in a really strict routine this week. I've just been kind of writing whenever I feel like it or whenever I find a moment or two. I did some sunset writing outside a few days ago. That felt really nice. I got a couple thousand words down this week, but I'm still far from where I want to be. I decided I need to be a little bit more flexible. Originally, when I came up with a writing routine for July, I only wanted to write on weekdays. I realize now I really need to allow myself time on weekends as well to write, just given how crazy this last week was. So I'm going to set aside some time this weekend to write. And tonight I have something exciting going on. I'm going to the Heiva. I'm going to try and include some clips if I can. The Heiva is a really big deal here in Tahiti. It's an event that celebrates the dance and music of the Polynesian islands. It's kind of like a competition, and one of my best friends will be dancing in it for the first time. It is a huge honor, and you can kind of think of it as like the Olympics of Tahitian dance. It is such a moving and beautiful event. I had the privilege of going a couple years ago, and it is just honestly, like when I left, I was just speechless. It was so incredible, and I'm just so excited to see it tonight. So this is great because a lot of my book has to do with hula and Polynesian dance. It's part of the main character's story. Again, I'm trying to be really careful about how much I give away because it has a huge influence in the book, but I feel really good about going tonight, obviously, to support my best friend, but it's really cool being able to go during this time when I'm writing, and where I'm at as far as writing goes in this zero draft really incorporates dance. And so going tonight, I think, is going to be so wonderful, and then I'll be able to write this weekend and be really inspired and just have that experience of being at the Heiva. I think that's really going to influence being able to write this weekend, so I am very excited for that. I mentioned this in my last video, but I truly think as writers, we don't give enough credit to those moments and those times where we're just living our lives, and we're it's almost like market research. And that's what I feel like I'm doing tonight, going to the Heiva. Again, as I said, I'm going to support my friend and for other reasons, but I'm also counting that as part of the Camp NaNo experience, the fact that I'm going and experiencing this, and it will be able to contribute to my book and my writing. I won't lie, I'm a little disappointed with how Camp NaNo July is going so far. I'm someone who I really need to be in a strict routine. That's where I thrive, but July just hasn't really gone that way, but that's okay. Something that I realized when I was going to write the second book and when I decided I wanted to do this, knowing that where I'm at in my life, there's just so much going on. There's a lot of moving pieces. It's not like I'm 60 and retired and have all day to write. I knew that this was going to be a challenge, and I also knew that there was never, or not that I can foresee, going to be a perfect time where I would have like 3 months of nothing going on and I could just write my next book. In my life, in my situation right now, living in another country, and just where I'm at personally, I don't see that happening for years and years and years. And so I really had to make the mental decision that no matter how chaotic it got, and even if I couldn't get on a really strict writing routine, and even though I have travels and work and all these things going on, that I was still going to write, even though it wouldn't be the super linear thing where I could just sit down and focus and have no interruptions for the next few months. So I'm just embracing that, and I hope that if you're someone who is writing right now or interested in picking up writing again, but you're just unsure of the timing of things, I hope it gives you the courage to just kind of decide for yourself, okay, life is a little bit crazy, but I still deserve to prioritize these things that are important to me and not wait for this perfect time, because for me, I don't think that perfect time would come anytime soon. Anyways, that's an update from me. I will check back in as it gets closer to me going to the Heiva tonight, and hopefully I can add in some clips, and then I want to capture some clips of me writing probably tomorrow and just share another update of how this week is going. Hello, it's been a few days since my last clip was filmed, and unfortunately you will have seen that I wasn't able to include any clips from the Heiva. I forgot that you cannot record, which makes a lot of sense, but I'll link some videos down below of the Heiva, so if you're interested, you can see what it was all about. I started my week off pretty strong with writing. I've been in a pretty solid routine this week, just slowly chipping away at my zero draft. And I've blocked out some time now to actually sit down and write a bit, so I will show you what my setup is looking like. I'm going to be writing outside on the terrace during sunset, so it's a really nice time. It's really calm and peaceful here. I've been transitioning a lot between writing in the mornings and writing in the evenings. Work has been really busy, and so sometimes I wake up in the morning and I just immediately want to get started with my work day and get through my long list of to-dos, and I feel better about setting some time aside in the evening after I have a clear head. But on the days where work is a little bit more slow or I don't have so much going on, then I like to set some time aside in the mornings before I clock in. Today I'm feeling like writing in the evening. I will show you my setup. Before I get started with my writing session, I will talk you through my thoughts and things that have been tripping me up and what's been going well, etc., etc. Where I'm at right now in the writing process is I am currently still writing Act 1 and then heading into Act 2. And this first part of the book has a lot to do with hula. The main character is a hula dancer. Again, I'm trying to be careful about how much I give away, but I feel like that's important for me to share with you so you understand my struggle. Hula is very sacred to Polynesian communities, and it's something that you have to approach with a lot of respect and kind of tread lightly. There are other authors whose books I've read who their books have something to do with hula or incorporate hula in some way, and they're very careful the way they incorporate it. As far as how they explain it, how they describe certain movements, and they always describe it with this kind of vagueness. And I think it really is just out of respect, because in Hawaiian culture and Polynesian culture specifically, things have to be passed down to you. So for example, I couldn't just wake up tomorrow and become a hula teacher. It's something that would have to be passed on to me from a kumu hula, which is a hula teacher. I would basically have to almost get elected and given permission. I find the same thing kind of goes when you're even just talking about hula or incorporating it into things. It just needs to be approached with this certain amount of caution. And so I'm trying to be descriptive when writing, but it's also really hard to write freely and just be in this drafting mode when you kind of have that in the back of your head of how much is going to have to change and going to be edited out, and how will I approach this first half of the book and be descriptive enough where it's interesting, and for people who don't know about hula will understand what's going on in the traditions and the meaning behind everything that's done, but still be respectful. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think for any author that's incorporating any type of cultural elements in their books, this is something that I'm sure a lot of writers struggle with and try to juggle. For me, I really have to just remind myself that this is just drafting. I'm going to obviously edit so much of this out, and I can allow myself to really stir on this another time and ruminate on it. I don't need to spend that time now doing that, because what it's doing is it's just making it hard for me to really get into that drafting mode where you're just writing really freely and not overthinking every single word you get down. I'd say that's my biggest struggle at the moment with where I currently am and what I'm currently writing. I'm going to spend the next 30 minutes to an hour writing. Hello. It is Thursday today, but I am definitely going to end the vlog with this clip. I can't tell if my camera's focusing or not. We're still in the process of moving and struggling through the routine, but I've been able to get, I want to say like 2,000 or 3,000 words down this week. And so that feels really good. I feel like every single day my goal kind of changes, and I'm still just continuing to write whatever kind of comes to mind. And definitely when I started Camp NaNo in the beginning of this month, I had this idea that I was going to sit down and know exactly what to write each day. But if I knew that, the reality is I wouldn't actually need to be writing a zero draft in the first place. So again, just using this time to experiment and kind of write what comes naturally, allowing myself to bounce around and go back to the beginning and write more if I feel inclined, or head towards Act 3 if I'm feeling inclined to write certain scenes there. I'm just kind of allowing myself to write whatever I'm inspired to and whatever I'm drawn to. And I think that really is the magic of a zero draft, and that's what I'm kind of realizing now. It's still an exploratory time where you get to just kind of have free reign. And I think one of my biggest mistakes going into Camp NaNo with the intention of writing a zero draft was going into it with this idea that it was going to be really structured, and that's just not how it goes. It's the end of my work day, and it's time to sit down and write a little bit. So I'm going to give myself probably around an hour, and I do have a rough word count of around 800 words, but I'm not going to be super strict. Anyways, let's start writing. Okay, I got some writing in. I'm going to take a little break, get some more tea, and then come back and try and write a little bit more, but I want to end the vlog here. Something that I was really reminded of this week is how difficult this writing thing is, and how difficult it is when you're an adult and you have work and family and just everyday life, trying to prioritize time to be creative. I wrote my first book when I was 15, and I didn't have a job yet. I was living at home. I had all the time in the world. Now, attempting this second book, I'm just realizing how truly different it is and how much effort it really takes. And it just gives me a whole new appreciation for authors and for creatives everywhere who prioritize their creative endeavors amidst all the other chaos that is life. I hope if you're a writer who's participating in Camp NaNo July, it's going well for you. My thoughts are with you. You're definitely not alone if you're struggling. And until I catch up with you next time, take care.